Hello and welcome to the What Turns You On podcast. I am your host, Kaelen Marie, and I am here with Sister Goddess Amber, and I'm just so excited to have her here today. I'm going to share with you just a little bit of her bio and how she came to be where she is at. So, she had a long love affair with starting out dancing when she was younger. So, she had a lot of sensuality that started when she was just a child. And as she went through and learned what really turned her on and the passions that she had, she went into healthcare for a little while. She earned her degree. She's done many things. She's like this multifaceted woman. Let's be honest with that. One of the things that I have learned about her is her independence and knowing that she really needed to, because of the experiences that she saw growing up, she needed to be able to take care of herself. And so she learned skills and talents and things that would help her be able to really shine in this world. And she does, and she went into like the corporate area with tax preparing and things like that. But she got certified as a massage therapist because she is very intuitive. And so being able to step into that realm is something that is super beautiful to witness. And that led her into the pleasure coaching realm as she is in this certification process through Mama Gena's pleasure certification program. It is outside of work. She loves spending time with her dog Ginger and doing those things that bring her a lot of joy. It is my pleasure to have Sister Goddess Amber on. So, welcome, my love. I am happy that you are here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So, we're going to dive right in, girl.
Yes.
Tell us, what turns you on?
What turns me on is me.
Oh, can I just say that is the best question? And I want to know why you turn you on, because let's be honest, the majority of women cannot say it, let alone think it. Right? Right? I want you to tell us why you turn you on.
I am the, I strive to be a better Amber today than I was the day before. I enjoy learning, taking in knowledge, and then being able to use that to produce something um, yeah, and then marking that as at the win and that and the feel good juices because I yes, I got it. I achieved it. Achievement is a really big theme in my life, and I've through work and the goddess have found that it's not so much as I'm achieving like one big star, it's little stars just along the way, and that those little stars along the way are of confirmation of me being on my path. So and Mama Gina, we call them driftwood. I call them gold stars because I like collecting gold stars and and I don't like collecting driftwood.
Yeah, okay, okay. Right, legit, legit. Yes.
So, and I would never collect driftwood, but I would
Right.
collect gold stars.
I
So,
love that.
yeah.
I call it signs of land, is what I
Mhm.
call it. Mama Gina calls it driftwood. Yes, I love the gold stars. I love the collection of gold stars because who doesn't want to have, like, a wall, a
Yeah.
room, a house covered in
Yeah.
gold stars, right?
Yeah.
When so turning you on, if there's one thing I've learned about myself,
Hmm.
is that I am still a mystery to me.
Hmm.
Like I'm discovering amazing things about myself
Hmm.
that I didn't even realize were in me.
Hmm.
And like years ago, like 25 years ago, one of my neighbors when I lived in a small community, she's this amazing seamstress and quilter. And she's like, "Oh, you should try this. You'd have a lot of fun with it." I'm like, I don't think so." Well, I did it and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I love this." And it made me really happy to discover that there was something that I loved. Along your journey, what has been your surprises about you? Like what are your top three things about you that you've discovered that you were like, huh, I never knew I had that in me?
That's not really it's a great question. And really, it's more of a, I can do whatever I want. And
Oh, that's your discovery.
that's
You discover
that's
you
the
can
start. I
do
can do
whatever you
whatever I
want.
want, and then I'm good at, and I can grasp it, and I do it um to the point of satisfaction, and I don't have to do it again. Like it doesn't have to be a thing for all time. It's just I do it till I get the base and understanding, and then okay, I'm absorbed. I feel, got my fill, and I move on to the other thing. So it's really matter what sets my mind to it,
Okay.
where I set my mind to and energy. But really, it's not even my mind. What I'm learning through the goddess is what the body, what pussy wants to do, and I have to work with her to get her. That's probably like to get her to do that. Like we both have to be like on board, like to have that complete buy-in, right? So maybe that. So I think that's it. That's the learning and what I have to do if there's something that I ego wants to do, and even if and it's like let's say it's pertinent and she doesn't want to do it for whatever reason, it's like, okay, like a child, I want to do this. Why do you not want to do this? Let's acknowledge that first. Okay, so if I want to do this, what do I need to give you so I can get this, so I can, like my passport? And I was like, okay, what coffee shop do you want to go to? She chose the coffee shop. What drink do you want? She chose the drink. I was like, so, and then like, what time do you want to do? Well, she chose the time. And then that day that we had set, it happened completely seamlessly. And so,
Oh, okay. So this surrender to your pussy,
mhm.
was that an easy thing, a challenging thing? How did that go?
um, challenging in the sense that I've been wanting my passport for years. I've been desiring a passport for years and years and talked about it. My, I'm the only one who's not left the country in my family.
Okay.
And um and it was just there was a block there. There was a block. And so that when I was working with coaching, it came up, realized, that no one doms me other than me. Like really no one controls me other than no one controls me other than me.
Yes, queen. Keep it going, girl. Tell me.
And so it was like, okay, well, I'm stopping me from doing this. And I've been, and then as I, get with this new information, this new way of thinking through Mama Gena, it's like, okay, I'm gonna treat her like a child because at base, emotionally, we're all children, right? So,
Yeah.
and that kind of was like, this is a fear, and what I found is if there's a fear of doing something, it's not in it and of that thing. It's what it represents or what is behind that.
Truth. Yes.
And so it was me realizing that there was this fear of like my child self being left behind when I went off into the world and experienced new things. And I was like, well, I'm bringing you with me. Like, we'll do it together. Like, I'm not going to do anything that you don't want to do. And it was like, okay, and so then it was like, okay, how do I motivate you? How do I get? And it was like talking to a child, like, and also there is an exchange. There's always an exchange because yeah, I could have forced myself to do it, and it would have been a horrible mess of an experience. But because I was exchanging my, my desire to do something, but her in exchange for her buy-in, like, okay, this is what I want. Like, I know you don't want to, and that's your desire. Your desire is to not get one. Mine is. So what can I give you in exchange to work with me? Like, let's give me this. Let me acknowledging your resistance and your story that you're stuck to. I acknowledge that, but I want this. So can I give you this in exchange? And that's in essence what do I do when I have to exchange. It's like and even though I'm talking to myself, I treat as an external being.
That is so powerful to hear you because I'm a firm believer, girl, I go to the grocery store, I'm talking to myself all the time. People are like, who are you talking to? And I'm like, me? And you
Yeah.
know? And but I discovered that when I have these conversations with me, I get so much more clarity in every area of my life, and I literally have to talk them out.
Hmm.
So to have you say that this is this conversation that you're having with your inner self, with your pussy, like this is so beautiful because what that's doing is that's building your relationship. And that's you trusting your pussy and your pussy in turn trusting you
Hmm.
that you're going to heed her wisdom, her
Hmm.
knowledge, her insight, her
Hmm.
medicine,
Hmm.
right? So how did your tell me, briefly, how did your pleasure journey begin?
It really began in with lack of celebration in my life.
Ooh,
Uh,
ooh, ooh, yeah,
I was being raised in the Jehovah Witness tradition. There's no, there's very minimal opportunities for celebration, and there's absolutely no celebration of the individual. So there's no birthdays. And depending on the parental, I've heard some stories where the parent will go out of their way to ignore the child. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because how ridiculous it is. Just to stay in step with the the rules
yeah,
of
okay.
the tradition.
Yeah, I can see that. That's what the
And
patriarchy does.
yeah.
Yes.
And so there, as a child growing up, not being able to participate in national, you know, yearly annual celebrations, and not birthdays with other children, and definitely not my own. Um, there was a lacking, and there I did find my own way to celebrate myself in a small way. I called it my personal. I started off with calling it my personal anniversary, and my dad would do like birthday spankings, to acknowledge. And then as I kind of kept pulling the thread and realizing that, it's not so much the celebration or the birthday, it's what's the underlining, it's the acknowledgement that you exist, that you matter, that this is your day to shine. It could be any day. The born day is, obviously more potent. And so, living so slowly, climb my own way, climbing out and being comfortable with then participating in like birthday exchange at work, um, and being celebrated in that kind of capacity, slowly strengthen that, like, oh, it's okay to celebrate me. It's okay, um, to do that. And then I had my partner at the time, like he would buy me when I asked, like a Hello Kitty cake, because I love Hello Kitty. And
Yeah.
there was a restaurant or a bakery that did Hello Kitty cake. So it was just a slow progression. I would never have called it pleasure. Like I said, it was just more in the terms of celebrating me and my existence and me being here on Earth. Um, and then yeah, and then it led me to like pleasure, like kind of like boom. It was like I was at pleasure's door. I was at the mansion of pleasure. Like kind of like petering around, and then you find a path, and you're like, oh, it's a huge mansion of pleasure. Like okay, I guess this is where I'm supposed to be.
Okay, can I just say, I see the thread. I know why you are your turn on because you finally get to celebrate you and be in all of your pleasure. And when a woman has been denied that, it makes complete, I'm going to even say logical sense to have you be your own turn on, to have you be your own pleasure, to have you be witnessed by yourself.
Mhm.
And that's what every woman is seeking to achieve. Oh my gosh, Amber, this is like gold right here. This is pure fucking gold right here. Right? Like I'm getting turned on just thinking about when we step out of all of the stuff that has held us down and we just celebrate each woman, we
Mhm.
celebrate ourselves,
Mhm.
we have to become our own turn on.
Mhm.
Like that right there is some of the most purest wisdom I have received to date.
Oh,
That is so beautiful and so powerful. How did you come to Mama Gena's work? Because you started celebrating you, you started doing these things, and which is funny because that's the name of my business is Celebrate You,
yeah,
because it's so critical,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Obviously.
yeah.
How did you come to Mama Gena's work?
Um, COVID.
Thank you, COVID. COVID blessed us in so many ways.
My COVID story. Kind of was a whole bunch of stuff in the relationship I was in, personally, everything, just being. And I started just, I feel really, I started seeking out and search, and I would say now I was in search of me.
Mhm.
And a girlfriend of mine, I was following her on Facebook, I knew from high school. Um, she was doing readings. We call her the goddess of the goddesses. And
Yes.
um, I was like, I felt safe. Like I've always wanted to entertain it, wanted to seek out, wanted something new. And so did that with her. She shortly thereafter offered the first container I was ever in. I didn't know it until like looking back. But it was ended up being a 6 month container of a small group, a potent group, herself and two other women. And in that container, learned about Mama Gena and got the book on womanly art.
Oh,
Um,
like pussy.
yeah.
Oh,
And then
oh,
eventually, and then I think eventually I did after I read Book of Womanly Arts, but I didn't pick it up until 2023 because 2022 to 2023 was just all rupture, like all eruption, all rupture. It was just all, it was the goddess leaning in, leaning hard, telling me to decide, like forcing me to make like it's like you basically it's like you are death. You got enough information to make the choice. Like what is it going to be? And like she just came in hard. She just came in for me because like you got things to do. I need you to wake up and I need to wake you up now. Like you need to be woken up now.
yeah.
Fortunately, I had the experience of going through massage school to to hold me in. And then when I ended the relationship. And then I was on my own for the first time ever. So I was 46 and first time I ever lived on my own because I lived with my mother till I was 33.
Yeah.
And then I went into the relationship with my partner for 13 years. And yeah, so last year was my first year ever on my own. And in the beginning of that, to find some guidance and to find some grounding, because I still using my old patterns, was like picked up the book, was like, no better time than now. And so I read Womanly Arts, then the owner operator manual on men, and then Pussy.
Mm,
And like I could not put that down.
I know.
And I had participated in the courtesan. I'd reached out and got some information on the course, but it was like, nah, money and time. I was like, ah. And then but had just finished Pussy when I did the courtesan challenge, which was actually my birthday week. Um last year now. And on the like that last day of the challenge, like riding the high, riding all the pleasure, all the feel good, um hormones all around the body. I was like, I'm just gonna do it. Like I don't know how I'm gonna pay for it. This is crazy. But like Mama Gena in Pussy, it was like she was being mama. Like she it was teaching me the ways of the feminine. She was acknowledging and validating and answering the questions I had to my feminine experience
Mm,
that I couldn't talk to with anybody, that I never like experienced, that I never even voiced, that I had that I was assessing all in the mind. She just was like, I mean, like I said, it was just like she just answered. It was like, yeah, like she was that auntie that was just like breaking it down to you. Like this is what you're for. This is how men respond to you. The better, the more you know yourself, the better you have relationships, like with men and everything. So I was like, let's do it. Let's just go ahead and do it. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how this is going to be. And I had been looking to becoming a coach, getting out of corporate. So like it answered like so many things a way I wanted to maneuver. I
Mm.
didn't know it was going to be what it's been. I mean, it's been more than what I could even imagine from. But yeah, that it's just it's like it's like I haven't I haven't looked back. I haven't looked back.
You know what? Thank you. When we come into something that's going to push our edges, and it's interesting as you were talking about 2022 to 2023, that was a year of massive ego death for you,
Mm,
and it was painful,
mhm,
and literally those were the parts that where you were going, you could not bring that person, that Amber that you were at that time, to where you are now, to
mhm,
be in this space of receiving this pleasure wisdom,
mhm,
right? And so I just love witnessing, as I do these interviews, as I witness these women, these goddesses, and their journey of how they've been so held and cultivated and guided and loved into, and sometimes forced,
mhm, mhm,
kicking and screaming like, oh, oh, are you sure? Yeah, oh, I'm good. No. And goddess is like, you don't understand where you have to go.
mhm,
And here you are in this place and space, trusting like you've never trusted before, pouring into you and celebrating you on levels that maybe you never even realized you knew about or needed,
mhm.
and witnessing how pleasure has now reshaped your life is profound. What is it that you want to, like, with this ability, these skills, these talents, these tools, these technologies? What is the goddess showing you that you are meant to take this into the world? What does that look like for you?
It looks like meeting the women who, through one facet of another, whether it's community or religion or
Mhm.
family, but were pigeonholed and limited to either their beauty as a young woman, using their beauty being used as a way to attract a man,
Yeah,
um, and then just to be sold off into wifedom,
yeah,
as I'll call it,
yeah,
with no encouragement, a sense of understanding themselves, understand what their capacity is, understanding what they want to learn, how they want to earn their money. Um, and those are all afterthoughts because unfairly it's put upon their spouse, especially if they go from their father's home. And it happens more often than you would think if they go from their father's home, their parent home, to their spouse home with no understanding of self, what their capacity is, no ritual of expansion, and then only the only ritual that they go through is marriage.
yeah,
Um, which marriage is a legal term, but anyhow, we won't get into that. And so then now they're not only responsible for themselves, but now responsible for a spouse, and they're responsible for the children. And in our culture being patriarchal, you put everyone forward and you don't put yourself. So if they find that at some point they get to the point where, hey, this is no longer serving me, I'm so filled up with all this negativity, I'm suffering, and they leave, they can leave because the angst is just so powerful that they cannot. But then it's like, okay, once they've done that and they left, then they look back and they're like, I can't survive in this world. I have to learn. I have to and it's not even relearning. I have to level up and I have to level up quickly,
yeah,
with an added responsibility of now a former partner or an ex-partner, children, right? So the that is not that they can't do it because women can do absolutely anything. Just the burden is
yeah.
intensified with these responsibilities. Um, I saw that when I was 19, and that's why I've done so much because I wanted to know what my capacity, what I can do, what can I not do, and I just wanted to keep going, keep going. But teaching women that primarily you have so many skills that you don't even know. Being a mother, you're a time manager, you're a project manager. You keep people alive. You're a caretaker, which is an absolutely beautiful, wonderful job. Um, you are a planner, a party planner. You're just so many things. You just don't know it
Yeah.
because you never been taught to look at it in that capacity, in that way, and then those nuggets, and just to give them that mind shift and those open realization, like you can do whatever you want. You've done and you probably have done it. You just don't. We're never looked to look at that way and to appreciate because you were never taught to appreciate your own value, your own authority, your own sovereignty, and yeah, just basically giving them back them just the way like Mama Gena, the way I have viewed this experience as Mama Gena is is giving me back me, even though I've been in search of me and I've done so many things and I have so many skill sets and things behind me, I never found me. But
Mm,
I did all those things. So I
mm,
know what I have done, and I know what I can do is even greater. And then, but that's been made more potent with Mama Gina giving me.
mhm,
She's not giving me a pill. She's not saying, do these practices every single day or write this journal. Like, no, she's just like, I'm giving you the way that God has gave
mhm.
and then however you implement it, however you level it up and, brand it and take it and, embody it and then brand it to make it authentic to your service delivery. Yeah, that's what I want to do for for women who have been denied themselves their whole entire life.
That is so beautiful and so potent. And we hear the phrase all the time, "Oh, you've got it within you." And I used to really hate that
Yeah.
phrase until I literally experienced it as we are in this program because of the mere fact that the woman is the one who pulls her healing up and out of her.
Hmm.
And that is the most powerful thing to witness, that you've witnessed in you, I've witnessed in me, and every other woman that is in this program has witnessed. Now there's this beautiful experience that you had that I'd like you to share with these beautiful women about how you knew, you watched it, you saw what you just described, the beginning to the end,
Hmm.
when you had gone to that wedding when you were 19.
Oh, yes.
That because that there's a lot there, and to have you share this will help solidify in a lot of women's minds that may not be experiencing turn on and pleasure,
Mhm.
will go, "Oh my gosh, that was me."
Mhm. So at night, by the time I hit 19 years old, um, I was raised by my mother. So my mom, like I said, I didn't leave her until I was 33. But I'd seen I not only lived my life, but I'd seen my mother's story play out before me.
Yeah.
And I'm at this wedding, and I am watching this girl. I believe she's 17, and she's a girl, and she's marrying like a 21-year-old boy. And I'm sitting at her wedding thinking she's going from her father's house to her husband's house. She's not even graduated high school. She was homeschooled and she hadn't even completed the program. And everyone's all smiles and everything. And I'm like, what can she do? Like what can she do? She hasn't been tested. And then heaven forbid, let's say her husband gets injured and she has children. She can't rely on him. Her father can't provide for her. And now it's on her. And what is she able? Well, obviously an entry level job. That's where she has to start. That's where she has to start.
Right.
She has to now build up. And then the added burden of now the added responsibility of taking care of everybody else, but now doing what she needs to do to get more income was yeah, that's dumb. I was like, that's like, I was like, I'm not doing that. I want to test myself. However, what I did not realize, and what the goddess and the memory the goddess, the potency of that memory the goddess gave to me was that I was simultaneously seeing how the story ends, but as a child, I had lived that experience, and now I'm seeing how it ends with my mother.
Yeah.
So I'm in I don't know, like a juxtaposition. Like I'm seeing both of it, and I'm like, I've watched this story play out. I'm living it right now, how it ends, and I'm out. Like I am not. That is not it for me. Um, yeah, it didn't mean I didn't mean I didn't have other things to learn
Oh, for
through that
sure.
experience. But the potency of that was like, yeah, to be there and then see like a sliding, like the sliding door of like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna put the, I'm gonna find me, I'm gonna learn me, I'm gonna see what I can do, my capacity, and I'm gonna keep pushing until and I'm just gonna, yeah, I'm gonna keep doing me.
Wow, that when I first heard that story from you, it was so pivotal because that was your defining moment
Mhm.
in your life, why you've gone and done what you've done, become who you are, and now it plays out in what you want to bring into other women's lives. Is
Mhm.
that if you and correct me if I'm wrong, but if we don't stop and celebrate us
Yeah.
and witness who we are and our growth and expansion, how can we celebrate literally anybody else if we can't celebrate ourselves,
Mhm. Yes.
right?
Correct.
That story is so pivotal because you literally had the goddess just give you a massive download in a pretty quick frame
Uh,
that pivoted your entire existence on this planet
yes.
completely. As we wrap up, what is the one message, the one golden nugget, the what turns you on, whatever that is bubbling up through you that you want to share in this moment? What is it that you just feel like you have to share right now that's coming through?
Do you? Like you'll never go wrong. You'll never go going wrong. Um, doing what is innately bubbles at that first thought, that first feeling, because that is the guiding feeling. And yeah, you'll never be in regret. Never be in remorse. You may not understand, and
Mm-hmm.
that's absolutely supposed to kind of how it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to understand, especially when you've aligned with the goddess. Um, yeah, decorate the house the way you want to decorate. Decorate yourself the way you decorate. Only put on the, only eat with the utensils that you like to eat. If you like eating with chopsticks, eat every meal with chopsticks. If you want your living room pink, paint it pink. Like it seriously, you're gonna be so much more happier, so much more in line with yourself. I will also say practice if you're not used to listening to yourself, practice muscle testing. That
Mm-hmm.
is a great way to tap into your intuition, and to build that strength and build that muscle. And it's a great way of getting guidance. Um, Before asking, you still ask for other people, but and it strengthens that relationship with your intuition. It strengthens your intuition, and you just know, innately in your mind and in your being, in all three spaces, your mind, body, and soul, the direction that you need to go.
I just have to say, Sister Goddess Amber, this has been one of the most impactful interviews, and I am so grateful. Thank you so
Oh,
very much. So beautiful. Thank you all for tuning in to What Turns You On podcast. Go and do you. Just go and do you. Heed those words of Sister Goddess Amber. Thank you so much for joining us here today.